Yai, dai, dai, yai, dai, dai. Ya, da, dai, dai, yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Ya, da, dai, yai, 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 yai. Ya, da, yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Dee dai dai yai 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 yai. Dee dai dai yai 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 yai. Dee dai dai yai 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 yai. Yai 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 yai. Yai 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 yai. Yai 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 yai. See yai 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 yai. Dee dai 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 yai 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 yai. Yai 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 yai. Ya da dai yai 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 yai. Dee dai 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 yai dai dai. Dee dai dai yai 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 yai. Yai dai dai yai 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 yai. Yai dai 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 yai 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 yai. Yai dai yai 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 yai. Yai dai yai 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 yai. Yai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai dai. Yai dai dai yai dai yai yai dai dai. Yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai.
Hi, everyone. Happy Earth Day. I'm Eliana, Wilderness Torah's Community Programs Manager, and I wanted to introduce myself and welcome you all to the virtual village. If you're new or this is another session that you are attending, we're so glad that you are here with us. In response to our annual Passover in the Desert cancellation, we decided to use all of our energy to create this virtual village space. As a part of awakening the earth-based traditions of Judaism, Wilderness Torah creates village life during our immersive land-based festivals, such as Passover in the Desert. By uplifting and encouraging individual gifts of the collective community. 4 times a week in this virtual village space, you will learn with Wilderness Torah community members such as Tali Weinberg, who are sharing their gifts, as well as other longtime stakeholders in the earth-based Jewish movement, including rabbis and priestesses and many others. Sessions will range in topics such as Torah study, nature connection, spirituality, and embodiment practices. We are truly looking towards this time to see what it can teach us. Thank you all for being here, and we're so excited to have you a part of our village. We are committed to keeping the virtual village accessible and free. If you would like to support Wilderness Torah in this effort, we welcome any and all donations, big or small, as we endeavor to provide Jewish wisdom and community building through this hard time. If you are new to Wilderness Torah or would like to find out more about what we do and how to get involved, Malka will put the link to our website and donation page in the chat now, which she's already done. And this session is being recorded and live streamed to Facebook. So if you're curious about other sessions that we've had in this virtual village, feel free to go onto our website and check out what's there. And this session will also be uploaded soon. With a show of hands, anyone who this is their first Wilderness Torah program? Woo! Thank you all for being here. And anyone who this is your first virtual village program. Awesome. Yay. We're so happy to have you with us here. And without further ado, I am so thrilled to invite and welcome in Tali Weinberg. Tali has been a long-time contributor to Wilderness Torah and the Earth-Based Jewish movement at large. She is the co-founder and designer of the original Urban Adamah site in Berkeley, as well as the farm manager at Urban Adamah's initial year. Tali holds a master's in traditional Chinese medicine and studied permaculture as an intern at the Bullock's Permaculture Homestead. She is curating a permaculture gardening course via Facebook called Resiliency Rising Permaculture Group. And we're so excited to have you here with us today and to learn with you.
Great. Thank you for that introduction, and good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, Wilderness Torah, for inviting me. So yeah, happy Earth Day, everyone. I feel honored. Like, I feel like I have like a little esteemed seat at the table today because it's Earth Day. So it's wonderful to be able to be with you and to be able to share a little bit about approaches to being in relationship with the earth. So today our class is going to focus on permaculture, which I would say that people have probably heard of, and some of you have potentially studied extensively. But we're going to go into a little bit of a discussion about what it is, and also what is the connection between permaculture and, you know, some of our own ancient Hebraic agricultural laws. So I guess we could just dive in and start with the question around, I just want to presence like how exciting it is. You know, we know that this is a time of crisis, and we know that this is also doubling as the time of opportunity. And the opportunity that we have right now is that there is a crack that has been created in the way that we have been going about our business as usual. And I think probably a lot of us feel that individually, but that's also taking place collectively. Our entire society has been come to a halt. And so this is a time, I think, if we want to seize it, to shine a light on the opportunities that this is presenting us with, as far as how are we going to choose to move forward as a collective. And my personal focus, because I've sort of been, you know, wrestling with this question for most of my life, for the last couple of decades, has been, how are we going to fix our broken food system? How are we going to rebuild the village? How are we going to, you know, make the decision that we're not going to proceed the way that the ill way that we relate to the land and food production has sort of been dictating. And so here's our chance to pause and vision together, and to reflect on what's been working and what's not been working, and and what is our vision? What is our vision for ourselves? What is our vision for our families, our communities, for our nation, and for the generations that are coming? So in my own personal journey, I came across permaculture in 2008 after I had already been invested in organic farm management and growing food organically. But permaculture sort of presented itself on my path. And I spent a couple of years at the Bullocks Permaculture Homestead on Orcas Island studying at one of the older and more initial permaculture sites in North America. And so I've gotten really into that paradigm. And so let's start there. Let's talk about what it is. So permanent agriculture, or permaculture, stands for permanent agriculture. And it's a framework that was initially sort of like articulated and written about by Bill Mollison. As well as Bill Mollison used to be a professor at the University of Tasmania in Australia and had a master's student named David Holmgren. And the two of them sort of like articulated a series of principles which they hoped at the time could be a course correct for the way that, like as a response to environmental degradation and industrial agriculture. And so that was way back in like 1978 that they came out with this whole concept of permaculture. And since then, permaculture has really spread as a paradigm and a framework around the world, everywhere. Virtually every country has got this movement building. And so today I would say it's almost coming to encapsulate the modern conversation around food resiliency and food security. But it's not just about food resiliency and food security. It's really taking into account the whole system of how we fit into the designed world. So yeah, I guess I would describe permaculture as a design system for designing systems. So what does that mean? It means starting to understand that we are part of a series of relationships, that our human lives don't just exist in a vacuum, and that if we want to design intelligently, really what we need to do is we need to look to nature. The natural world is the greatest muse that we have for the most supremely intelligent system that there is. If you go into a forest, you see that everything that is generated by one species or by one plant is uptaken and it's used. It's a resource from another part of that system. So there's no waste in the natural world. There's no waste in a forest, and there's no like system of collecting what's not being used and taking it away. Right? Everything is valuable. And the way that one thing utilizes the yields of another thing is the foundation of relationship between all of these elements. And so in permaculture, we look to nature and we try to ask that question: how do we design as humans? How do we get into that consciousness where we're designing so that nothing in our system goes to waste, and that we're just creating a series of efficient relationships? Like, I'll try to give an example. Like this is the standard example, and I'm sure you're all well rooted in it, but I'll just say it just to underscore the type of thinking that we utilize in permaculture. But, we don't throw our green waste and our food waste away. It's not waste at all. In fact, we should probably call it like gold or resource, because it becomes the foundation for building topsoil, for building soil, nutrient dense soil, which is also going to then, we're also going to grow our food in that. So these are closed systems. And I just wanted to bring that up and just say that, permaculture is something that was articulated because that is not the way that we go about our food system. Our food system is based on, first of all, there's an incredible amount of waste in the food system. So much gets wasted. We're not closing the loops on thinking about how we can, build soil through biological resources. Instead, there are all of these synthetic fertilizers that are brought in to build the soil. We're just taking out and mining nutrients and not putting them back in. And so we're in a system that has been for a very long time on sort of a bit of a crash course. And so we have this opportunity right now to fine tune our system, to figure out what is sustainable, what is permanent, what is this permanent culture that is possible when we design in an intelligent way. So that's what permaculture is. I suggest if people are interested in learning more about it, that you pick up Bill Mollison's Introduction to Permaculture Design. And there's amazing literature out there and many different chat groups. So yeah, I think that would be a great thing to be doing right now with this time. So just to move a little bit on, with permaculture, there is a series of ethics and a series of principles. And I think that that's really special, because if you look at our contemporary agricultural system, what's missing is that there's no ethical foundation. There's no sense of who and to what we are responsible for. And I want to just ask this question now for us to start thinking about, what are the implications of having a food system design that has absolutely no ethical foundation to it? What are the consequences of having no ethical foundation to our relationship to our food system? And I think that we are living out a lot of the unfortunate consequences of having a system that's devoid of ethics. But in permaculture, there is an ethical foundation, and we always start there. And the ethical foundation is based on care for the earth, care for people, and fair share or equitable distribution. So as designers, as permaculture designers, when we go to make a decision around an aspect of our system, we always have to match it against, does this decision, does it serve the earth? Does it serve human beings? And does it foster justice and equitable distribution? And if our design decisions are not constantly coming back to the ethical underpinnings, then maybe they're not the right decisions, and we need to go back to the drawing board and rethink. So I wanted to bring that in, because I think that's something that's really unique about permaculture, is that there's an ethical foundation. And I wanted to just talk a little bit, maybe for a few minutes, about some of the permaculture principles. When you do an Introduction to Permaculture course, the first thing you do is you talk about the permaculture principles. And there's 12 of them that have been articulated by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren. And you sometimes see them, expressed slightly different, but they're essential. They're like the essential nuggets, the underpinnings of smart and efficient design. So a designer is constantly working with these principles when going to make a decision about where to put a chicken coop, or how close to put the outdoor kitchen relative to, the home, or where to graze animals, and where the orchard should be relative to, the garden where you're going out and picking lettuce. These are all just different elements in the system, and permaculture is trying to answer the question, where does everything go so that we can maximize the efficiency of the relationships, needs, and yields in the system, knowing that the system it's the sum of what all the individual constituents can do. And a good design kind of purrs like a cat. It hums like a well-oiled machine. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, just to give you a sense of some of the different permaculture principles, so that we have a little bit of a common language here this morning. One of the principles would be, we call it stacking functions. So stacking functions, I'll just read what I have. It's basically the elements, the things that we design into our system, they have multiple things that they yield. So for example, let's say we have, a fruit tree that we're designing into our system. And we recognize that the fruit tree is going to have a need. And one of the needs of the fruit tree is pollination, right? So then we ask the question, how do we bring in a biological source, something from nature, something biologically based, to meet the need of the fruit tree? So let's think of a pollinator. Let's bring in a plant and plant it right next to the fruit tree so that the plant attracts the pollinators to the site of the tree. And while the pollinators are there, they go up and they pollinate the fruit tree. And so in thinking about that, we think, well, which plant should we select? And then, you go into a series of contemplations. And ideally, you want to pick a plant that has multiple functions. So for example, one really great plant would be comfrey. Comfrey attracts beneficial pollinators. Comfrey also has these amazingly large green leaves that it grows. And when the plant gets to be about 1.5 feet, you can cut down the leaves and lay them in place and use it as a mulch around the base of your fruit tree. And in turn, as it breaks down, it will return a lot of important nutrients and feed and nourish the soil as it breaks down. Comfrey is also something that if you plant it in a ring a few feet around the base of the tree, you actually can stop grass from running and inhibiting the growth of your fruit tree. It'll stop the grass from getting to the fruit tree. And we know that grass and fruit trees are not like a great match. So here's an example of stacking functions where we selected a plant that has multiple functions. It's a single element with multiple beneficial functions, right? It's a pollinator, it's returning nutrients to the soil, and it's also suppressing grass. So that's a principle, stacking functions. And if we employ stacking functions, that principle, for example, into our design, when we have the opportunity, we're starting to develop an intelligent design, an intelligent system, okay? Another foundation of intelligent design, and it's another principle in permaculture, would be considered resiliency. Resiliency is a principle that we utilize. What does that mean? It means that in order for a system to really be resilient, to be strong, we need to, I'll give you an example, we need to have appropriate backups. Like at the permaculture homestead that I lived at, they were pumping marsh water up the hill, which they stored in a ferrocement tank. And then the water was gravity fed down into the orchards and into the gardens. And they had this, old school, early 1900s pump that was linked up to a solar panel, and it was south facing. And so on sunny days, it was amazing. We were utilizing solar energy to pump the water from the marsh up to the top of the hill. But this is an extremely important piece of the design, is sending water out into the landscape. And so if we only had this solar panel, we would be creating a weakness, because what happens on days where there's no sun and it's gray, we would be susceptible to potentially the tank running dry and not having the capacity to pump the water up the hill. So for this purpose, there was a backup, which was just a straight up gas powered pump. So I'm just giving you an example. When you have a key thing in your design that's incredibly important to have online, you need to have backups for your system. So that creates resiliency. I mean, another thing I think right now, just to make it a little bit more personal, is, thinking about how we derive income in the world, right? And resiliency, I think, is when we have multiple ways that we're making money, that we're not just relying on one thing in order to help us sustain ourselves. But if we have backups, or we have a number of different ways that we're meeting that need, if, for example, you can't go out to work, but you have a little bit of a way that you derive income from staying at home, then you've got a backup in your system built in to create greater sense of resiliency. So resiliency is another principle. Maybe I'll just give you another, there's 12 of them. I'm not going to go through all 12, but I want to start to seed into your consciousness the foundational ideas or framework for how you make an intelligent design decision. Yeah, why don't we talk about one other one would be, I sort of alluded to this, but it's the principle of utilizing biological resources in your system. So permaculture recognizes that biological resources are the foundation for a closed loop system, especially when they are resources that are derived in place from your homestead. So for example, that would be, outhouses, and utilizing human manure in your system. So at the permaculture place that I lived at, there was this whole bank of really infertile soil. It was these sandy, gravelly, montane soils. You couldn't really grow much on them. But where I lived for the last 30 years, they've been digging pits in the ground and putting their outhouses there. And luckily this area was like up the slope, and so it was above the water table. So they could get away with like digging these holes, moving the outhouse. The outhouses were designed to be moved easily onto the new hole. And as soon as the hole would fill up, they would shut it down, dig a new hole, and move it. And for the last 30 years, they've been marching these outhouses up and down these montane soils, and essentially leaving, after the holes, closed up, leaving these plugs of fertility, which after 6 months to a year of allowing it to break down, has been building fertility on this otherwise completely infertile zone. And today, if you walk on this in this area of the property, it's a food forest. It's growing medicine. It's growing fruit trees. It's growing plums. It's growing ceanothus and autumn olive and all these amazing, amazing plants. So that's an example of using a biological resource. In this case, it was like the waste from the humans, which is something that we don't like to talk about, but we're using this biological resource as the foundation for building fertility on the site. Another example is, building homes or building rocket stoves out of clay and out of sand and straw. These are all biological materials, which when you combine them, create an incredibly intelligent, strong building material called cob, which you can build out of. So yeah, I wanted to bring that in, just give you a few examples of some of the principles in permaculture and really encourage you to explore for yourself, more of this field, because permaculture, it's a modern articulation of just common sense design principles. That's all it is. I think that a lot of you will find, if you look at the principles, you'll be like, yeah, what's the big deal? This is just common sense. And that's a great question. Or it's a great thing to think about, because why do we need to re-articulate these common sense principles? And the answer is because we have become that land disconnected. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Most of us, when we go somewhere new, we're not that connected to what the water on our landscape is doing. We're not attuned. We're out of attunement. We're like an instrument that needs to be retuned. We're not that aware of where water is pooling. We're not that aware of where south is. We're not that aware of like what the sun's arc is in the sky. What is the arc in the sky now? What is the arc in the sky around winter solstice? We don't know how the sun travels across the sky. We don't really know where our prevailing winds are coming from in the bioregion or the place that we're living in. Is it southwest? Is it east? These are all things when, as a tribal people, when we are really living harmoniously and close to the earth, as we have as a people, we would just know these things, right? We wouldn't be like what's happening in the natural world would not be something far that we didn't notice. We would of course notice it. We'd be so attuned to it. And so permaculture is kind of a modern response to help heal the disconnect between us as modern people and the land. It's like helping to re-implant an ancient framework that has been forgotten. And a lot of the principles that Bill Mollison and David Holmgren articulated, the way that they've put it together, they derive these common sense principles from traditional peoples, indigenous peoples who, nations who never got cut off from their relationship with the earth. And they studied these ways, and then they kind of like coalesced them and re-articulated them. So that's what it is. That's modern permaculture. And I have a prayer that one day we're not going to need to even study this anymore. We won't need to be reminded from scratch how to notice and observe the landscape and understand how all of the elements work together, because we will be so synced back into the natural system that we won't need, this foundation to remind us. So I want to use this as kind of a segue point to look at who are we, as like in our ancient memory. Who are we, like, as a tribe? And what are our ancient Hebraic principles and ethics that guided our decisions, right? And I think that that's the great remembering that's happening on the planet right now. And I can only speak because I am Jewish and I share lineage with many of you, maybe not all of you, but I can speak to the fact that, like, this is a great remembering that is happening in our community right now. And specifically in the Wilderness Torah community and the larger earth-based community. But this is our project, is to remember, who were we? Who were we really? Like if we reach back, what was our land relationship? What was it like when we were indigenous to the sun and the moon and the waters and the land and the cycles of things blooming and the cycles of things fruiting? And so there's a lot there. And so I'm honored to, and I feel like a baby in some ways in this work, but I'm honored to do this great remembering with all of you. So I want to turn it a little bit to our tradition. So that's the question, is what are our traditional teachings around our relationship to the land? And where can we turn to start learning about some of these things? And also the other question is, what are our ethics? And it seems to me, if we look in the Mishnah, and we also look in the Torah, there are many different agricultural laws that we can explore. And they have a huge, the biggest thing that I've seen is that they have a huge, there's a huge emphasis on social justice in our agricultural laws. So I want to look at some of these. So first of all, in the Mishnah, there's a whole Masechet, there's a whole tract that is called Seder Zraim. Zraim is seeds. And this whole section focuses on agricultural laws. And so the fact that there's an entire Seder in the Mishnah that's dedicated towards agricultural laws is just a reminder of the extent to which we emerged out of an agricultural-based people and history. So let's look at a few of them in the next 10 or 15 minutes. One of them is called Peah, and there's a Masechet, a tract called Masechet Peah, where this is written. And the law of Peah is the law of the corner of the land. And it refers to the command. The command is from Leviticus, and it says, when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. Okay, so here's like one of the laws, and it's like pointing to the landless. And there's an imperative immediately to think about the people that don't own land. How are we going to feed them? And I feel like this is a theme that runs throughout all of our agricultural laws, is how are we going to feed the ones that don't have land? How are we going to feed the poor? How are we going to feed the widows? And so in this Masachet, if you go into it, there's a little bit more guidance. For example, there's a limited amount. You are not allowed to set aside less than 1/60th of your field as the Peah. But there's no maximum. If a farmer wants to set aside 50% of the farm for the landless to come and harvest from, they can. But at least 1/60th of the field needed to be set aside. And the landless, they would come. They would come, and they would never go hungry. They would wander from field to field, and they always knew that they would have somewhere to go to feed themselves. And it's interesting to read about. So the poor were permitted to come 3 times a day, very, very specific times. There was a specific time in the morning, a specific time at midday, and in the afternoon. And if somebody came outside of one of these 3 times, they were forbidden to pick because it was very important that all the landless people assembled at the same time and could pick together. And that way that would prevent, one person from coming and over harvesting. And at the same time, the farmer themselves was forbidden to pick or select the poor that they were going to give their the crops from the peah to. So, there was a structure around this. So that's the law of peah. Moving on, there's also a couple other laws. One is called leket, and the other one is called shichacha. So leket is interesting. It refers to the ears of corn that when you're reaping, and you had, the harvester was holding with one hand and like cutting with the other hand. If one or two of the stalks of corn fell to the ground when the farmer was harvesting, they were not allowed to pick them up, but rather anything that fell when they were harvesting would be left for the poor to gather. And that's written about in Leviticus. And there's also the same thing in the vineyard, which is called peret. So leket was like for corn and grain, and peret were for grapes. Same idea. If the grapes fell down when they were harvesting, these grapes had to be left because it would be that food wouldn't be for the farmer; it would be for the landless. And then there's one more, which is called ocelot, which were like these little clusters of grapes. Anything that was considered a little cluster of grapes, again, would also be left on the vine for the landless to harvest. There's also something else called shichecha, which means the forgotten produce. And that would refer to sheaves that would just be forgotten in the field by the harvester. So the owner wouldn't take them, and they would be for the landless people to harvest. And it applied also to fruit trees. So for example, if like they were harvesting olives from an olive tree or from an orchard, and they like totally forgot to harvest the olives from a couple of those trees, they couldn't go back. That would have been forgotten. It would be for the landless. And also corn. That's another thing that they write about, like corn. And if you forgot a few plants, again, anything forgotten is left. So that's the practice of shichacha. I want to talk a little bit about tithing. So tithing is a huge part of our agricultural foundation. In Hebrew, it's ma'aserot. And of the 11 tractates in the Mishnah and Seder Zraim talking about our agricultural laws, 6 of them are referring to the tithing laws. So there would have been a commandment, like the idea is that like everything that was produced by a farmer on their land wasn't considered to be theirs until after everything, all of the tithings were taken out, because that food needed to be used to feed the Kohanim. It needed to be used to feed the Levites, the Leviim. It needed to go to the landless. A tenth of it needed to go to Jerusalem. There were all of these different designations, and so in that way, like it undermines this idea that the harvest belongs to the farmer. It doesn't belong to the farmer. The farmer is the servant, serving the land and serving the wider community first. And then anything that's left over after the maserot, after like the tithings were divided up, then the farmer could claim what was left, right? So what a totally different paradigm than the way that we operate right now, where the farmer really is a servant. Like somebody who owns land is just serving. The privilege of owning land is not for the person who owns it. It's actually to be a servant to the wider community. So I wanted to bring some of those up because first of all, I just need to speak personally. It took me a long time to even realize that we were from an agriculturally based tradition, because growing up in North America, that is not what I saw expressed around me. And it's like taken me years to catch up to the fact that like we're an earth-based tribe. I want to get into a couple other things, and then so that we have a little bit of time for conversation, because we're running short on time. But we also have principles around Shemitah and Yovel. So for those of you that are not familiar, Shemitah, just like we have like Jewish culture really marks time. In the week, we have 6 days of doing, and the seventh day is sacred, which is Shabbat. We also have this same principle at work with regards to our agricultural cycle, where we produce for 6 years, and every seventh year we stop and we let the land rest. We take a pause from how things have been going. And you can make the case, I have been feeling like what we're experiencing right now as a society is probably the closest thing that I have ever been able to conjure or experience that would have been like the Shemitah. So during the Shemitah year, there would be no sowing of crops. There would be no pruning in the vineyard. And also all debt, all social debt would be absolved. Okay, so things would really not be functioning the way that they had been. And it seems, of course, that in the 6 years leading up to Shemitah, there would have had to have been a considerable amount of planning for how the society was going to feed itself and how it was going to operate in the year of the Shemitah. So that sort of brings into this idea that we probably had a really strong emphasis on perennial agriculture. Perennial agriculture, it refers to things that fruit and give us food every single year without us having to plant them from scratch every year, which is what we do with annual vegetable-based agriculture. So there would have been just this embedded resiliency in the way that we were living. And also we probably in the Shemitah year would have been relying a lot more on wildcrafted edibles, you know, separate from our domesticated agricultural system. The natural world provides us with so much food. And so if every seventh year we were prohibited from sowing, we probably had an alive base, knowledge base on what we could pick from nature to feed ourselves, because every seventh year we would rely heavily on that knowledge again, right? So that would sort of keep that wild part of ourselves as hunters and gatherers, the hunter and gatherer part of us, it would keep it supple. It would prevent it from drying up because we were, you know, constantly needing to use it. So that's the Shemitah. Also in the Shemitah year, the fields and the orchards would not be considered private property, and the gates would be opened, and all the peoples would be allowed to go and harvest what was fruiting. It wouldn't be considered private property. So here's another one of these examples of the ways in which in our agricultural system, there's an undermining of this idea that land can belong to us, right? The first one was with some of the agricultural laws I already talked about, that like what the land provides is ours, because we already see that so much of it needs to be subdivided and distributed throughout the community. And here it is again, in every seventh year, even if you owned the land, you didn't really own it because it was open, it was available, it was everybody's land in the seventh year. So that's the Shemitah. And then every 50th year would be like the Shemitah Hagadol, the great sabbatical, and it was called the Yovel, the Jubilee year. And this is almost like the culmination of all the Shemitahs, and it was really the culmination of the 49 years that preceded it. You know, you can't just get to the 50th. Okay, well, let me tell you a little bit about the Yovel. So the Yovel was every 50th year, and in that time, all of the indentured servants would be returned and let free to go back to their family. And the land holdings, the traditional land holdings would revert back to the original, I guess, tribes that lived in each of these areas. And so there's something really powerful in the Yovel, which is it's the great undermining of private land as a source of private property. Because even if you held it for the 49th years, in the 50th year, it would revert back to whoever the traditional landholder was, and it wasn't yours anymore. And it sort of created this consciousness that we're just here temporarily tending and caring for the land. It's not ours. The land is borrowed from the ancestors. The land belongs to God, and we're just here serving it. So, you know, and there's other connections with 50. 50 is a very powerful number in Judaism. And I won't get into the gematria right now. But yeah, I think I want to just, we only have a few minutes left, but I think I want to create a little opportunity for us to stop for a second and contemplate. And we'll do like a few minutes in a breakout room. But I want to just pose the questions around what are the opportunities that stopping on a mass scale as a society, what are the opportunities, like similar to what they would experience during a Shemitah year, and similarly to, I think, what we're experiencing right now, what opportunities are created when we stop, and what are the consequences of not stopping, of not pausing, of not halting business as usual? What happens to us spiritually when we never stop the way that we're doing things and take a pause? And so I want to just create a little bit of space for people to talk about this time that we're in right now, and see if we can generate a little bit of vision and a little bit of like sensing into the opportunities that we're being given right now by this Shemitah, not Shemitah, but pseudo Shemitah feeling that we have right now on the planet. So yeah, I guess the conversation in short is, what are the opportunities and what are the consequences of having Shemitah, or what are the consequences of not having, this sacred time of stopping? So I'll leave it to Eliana or Malka to facilitate the breakout room, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. And I would love to hear a couple of shares.
Great, it'll take me just a moment to get.
Thank you, Tali. Simcha here.
Hey, Simcha, welcome.
Hi, everybody. While Malka's doing that, as you see in the chat, there's a bunch of resources. I come from the Jewish Farm School. I now am the development director for Wilderness Torah. I was the co-founder and co-director of Jewish Farm School for many years. And there are some resources that you can pay, like a Shemitah handbook and Jewish food rules. But the free source is that last link. Oh, here, no, I'll share it. I'm going to share this. This is the entire Jewish Community Farming Network's seed packet. There's more like trees here, not just seeds, that you as educators or personally can study and dive into. It's a Google Docs.
Thanks,
So
Sam.
to click around there after the class and find some good resources.
Once this Zoom is over, are we still going to be able to have access to all these links, or should I like copy and paste them all right now?
Copy and paste them.
Okay.
Yeah. And please do sign up for Wilderness Torah's newsletter, so we have your emails, and we'll send you resources as well.
Thanks, Sam. Cool. Malka, you ready?
Hey friends, we're just waiting for everyone to get back into the main room from the breakouts, and we'll come back together for discussion in a moment.
Okay, great. So I guess we're all back from the breakout room. Yep, great. So we just have a few minutes remaining, but I do want to have an opportunity to hear from people who are in this class and just say that ideally we would have a lot more time to discuss this, because I think that this is an extremely rich part of remembering who we are as a justice-based, earth-based people. And I think that this time is really kind of like tickling our ancestral memory and helping us to like remember ourselves, and also is calling us to get engaged. So I'd love to engage some people in the class right now and just hear what are some of the nuggets that came up for you around this opportunity. And you can raise your hand, and Eliana or Malka will call on you. So we'll take 2 different people. Okay, here we have somebody. Pat.
Okay. This sort of gives me a sense that our early spirituality was from our connection with the earth. Maybe before the Torah became a written document. And this is very similar to some of the first experience I had on with the virtual village, where we went outside and we had a Torah study. And I was expecting, I was going to get my Chumash out, but I was outside, and I was open to what the things of Torah were going to teach me, not the words of Torah. And Devarim has too many meanings. I mean, it means words and things. And so I was thinking maybe in the very early time, Devarim meant things before it meant words, because the things of the earth were what we were in connection with, and where we got our spiritual understanding and our divinity, our sense of divinity and all that. And then now the words are teachers. So this is great that I'm getting more connected with the earth, because I've been feeling so disconnected from my Judaism. It wasn't teaching me what I was looking for. This has been really helpful today to hear what you were talking about, our early, our ancestors. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I love that. I love that alternative interpretation of Devarim, that there was something like more tangible in who we were as a land-based, embodied-based tribal people than before the word. So thank you for bringing that. I really appreciate that. Do we want to hear from one more person just real quick, and then we'll wrap it up?
Go for it, Lily.
Okay. Hi everyone. So one of the things we were talking about as the consequence of not having times like this to reconsider is that I think a lot of us, I don't want to speak for everyone, but probably everyone who's tuning into this, recognize the faults in our systems, but there's not a time like once we've made that, come to that understanding to change the path. And so I was talking about how I've been struggling with in this time that I've seen. I've come to the realization about what needs to change, but when we have that opportunity to go back, how to actually make the changes we need to change. That I've been struggling to think about what things I actually will change once the quarantine ends, how we take that with us. And so I think that we're kind of out of practice, that when we get the opportunity to reconsider, we don't know how to bring that back into our world. Yeah, that's something we were talking about.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Lily, that reminds me of the serenity prayer. I don't know if you know the serenity prayer. God, grant me the ability to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And yeah, I just want us to all focus on there's for all the things that we don't feel like we can change because they're on levels that we don't have access to, there are a million things that we can change. So, like, let us stay heartened and clear-minded and connected to the things that we can change, because there's a lot of them, and we will know how to do them. We will know how to implement them. So thank you for a couple of those shares. I wish we had more time because this is a juicy conversation. But I want to say, I just want to bless all of us that we can really understand the opportunity that we are being gifted right now alongside the crisis. But this is completely unprecedented. It's unprecedented to have so much of our societal and even economic energy halted. And our tradition teaches us that pause, that halting, it's essential, it's necessary, and it's the foundation for being able to stop and look at what is and isn't working, and to vision and dream together about how we want to move forward. And I feel like we need this. We've needed this. And I say that with massive amounts of compassion for the amount of suffering that is being caused. But I think from an ecological perspective, we've needed to stop together and say, how are we going to move forward into the future? And, may we harness the blessings of this time. May we reconnect with the dreams that we have for ourselves personally, and then also the dreams that we have for ourselves as a society. And may we remember that, we're here in service, just like our ancestors understood, and all the agricultural laws laid the foundation for understanding that we were here to serve God, that our relationship to the land was how we related to the source of life. And I just want to bless all of us that we find nourishment and inspiration in these times, and really stay awake for this process. Maybe one thing is to do some journaling after this class, and to really harness what's coming up. And maybe we can circle around and continue to have this conversation as we remember together. So thank you, Wilderness Torah, for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you so much, Tali. Such a beautiful offering. Hi, everybody. My name is Malka, Wilderness Torah's Community Programs and Logistics Manager. I want to say a big thank you and big gratitude for being here in virtual community with us. All of our sessions are being recorded, and you can find them on our website within a week after we live stream. You can also go to our Facebook to see the live stream right after our session. We have 4 sessions this week. Tomorrow will be taught by Wilderness Torah's very own Rabbi Zelig around reconnecting Jewish life to the cycles of nature. Very much on the heels of this topic here today. And on Friday, we'll be taught Wonder and Awe, the Radical Amazement of Abraham Joshua Heschel with Rabbi Mike Coman. So stay tuned for our newsletter. It comes out every week.
That you're
Yes.
into?
Yes, it's going.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Amazing. All
Yes,
right.
indeed.
So
Here,
And shows what our virtual village programming will be. Again, our Facebook and Instagram are great places to look as well. Next week, we'll be blessed with Yuval Ron and some incredible Sephardic tunes, and Rabbi Natan.
getting settled and all that.
Okay.
Hey, everybody watching. We're here with Eliana Light and friends. And I'm thrilled to be one of the friends, by the way. It's fun to be here.
Is also on deck with the Torah of Nature and the Nature of Torah. We have incredible sessions coming up all throughout the next many weeks. Eliana is going to insert a link for our website, again, in our donation page if you feel.
And Eliana is going to be starting in just a couple of seconds.
We're here with
And we're going to be sharing some music and get ready to dance around. And this is a fun weekly event that
Feel called to support this work deeper. And a last thank you again to Tali Weinberg. You're an incredible teacher and community member and spiritual leader and designer and permaculturalist and all of these things. And we're so grateful.
That meets every Wednesday. And we'll be back next week. And note, we'll be switching the time slot next week to 1 hour later. So we'll be starting at 4 Eastern next week. And looking to that as our starting times.
To have you here and to get this incredibly juicy conversation started. She put some quotes in the chat I see, and I'll bring it back to Tali to give us some closing words.
Yeah, just real quick.
So mark your calendars. And Eliana, I'll pass it over to you.
I'm looking for it so I can share it on my page.
Great.
I don't see it just yet on the Jewish Live.
It just
If you're interested in doing a little bit more of an exploration of this, maybe find a chavruta that you can
In the meantime, you can listen to the beautiful bird sounds.
virtually Zoom with, or maybe you live with somebody, or you want to just do some journaling about this, and we can bring this into a larger discussion. But I have some questions that I put in the chat box. So check those out, maybe copy and
the sound of a truck rumbling in the distance, which you may indeed be able to hear. I'm gonna just pin my video for a second. Hello from the great outside. It's the great outside.
together. Thanks everyone. Happy Earth Day. Chag Sameach.
I'm not a very Zoom savvy person. How do you get into the chat box?
You can go to the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Of outside my house. And I'm really glad that you're here. Anybody who's watching this now or in the future. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show today. And then next week we're going to try doing it with a different time. In the webinar, just y'all, Katie. Hello, Katie and cousins. It's good to see you. But there are people watching on.
Do you see that?
No.
No?
It
No,
might
not
be at
seeing
the
it.
top of the screen if you're on a tablet or phone.
I am on a tablet.
So
I've
where
got
it is
like
for
the,
me is in the more. You
Yep.
press that and then you've got the option to access the chat.
got it. Found it. Thank you.
Great.
Facebook Live. But I'm happy to have y'all actually in here with me to be able to ask and answer questions and all of that. And so that I know that people are out there watching. So hi, Ella. Hi, Nessa. Hi,
Everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Simon. I hope you're watching also. Those are my cousins from Camberville. And it's really great to be with you. Okay. Got it. We're going to do that. We're going to do it now again while we lovingly listen to the sounds of the birdies, the beautiful bird sounds that are happening all around. And why are we broadcasting from my backyard today, friends? Because it is Earth Day. Yes, it is Earth Day. Earth Day rhymes with birthday. That's what the man who claims he invented Earth Day says, that it is Earth Day and birthday. So I shared it to my timeline just so that everybody could see what we're doing here. And I'm so happy that you are joining. Put on my cool looking sunglasses as we start. And let me know, friends, if you're having any issues with the sound or with anything in our little outdoor show today. Oops. Oh my goodness. Already dropped my pick. Take two. Shalom, my chaverim, my friends. It's great to be together again. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll have some fun, and spread some joy together as one. I'm so glad to be with you. Yes, I am. Can you sing that with me? I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be with you. So clap your hands all nice and loud. Stomp your feet, stand tall and proud. Give a smile on that mug, that's your face. Give yourself a great big hug and sing, I'm so glad to be with you. Can you sing that with me? I'm so glad to be with you. Well, it's a great day to dance and play. There's no doubt about that. So come say hi, yeah, don't be shy. Introduce yourself in the chat. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 yeah, la, la, lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. I'm so glad to sing with you. We're gonna dance. Can you sing dance with you? I'm so glad to dance with you. Maybe we're gonna learn something. Let's say learn. I'm so glad to learn with you. And just to be with you is special. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm so glad to be with you, my friends. Anyone who is here with me again now or in the future, I am so, so, so very glad to be with you. I just wanted to make sure that I could see it on my phone just in case some people comment over there on the Facebook. But there's a lot of stuff going on for Earth Day. My friend Joni Leeds is giving a concert right now, so when we're done, you should definitely hop on over and see her. Oh my gosh, I am so grateful for our amazing Earth. I want to say thank you to our Earth for all of the beautiful things that I get to enjoy just by living in it. And as we'll talk about more later, friends, I am not different or separate from the Earth. I live on the Earth. Do you also live on the Earth? I think so. If you stomp your feet a little bit, stomp, stomp, stomp. Where are you standing? You're standing on the Earth. You are a part of the Earth. So when we say we're celebrating Earth Day, it's not that Earth is a separate thing far away from us. We are a part of Earth, and the Earth is a part of us. So let's say thank you to the Earth for being here, being the place where we get to live and take care of by saying Toda Rabah, because our bodies are also part of the Earth. All of us connected together. Toda. Can you bend down and touch your toes? Toda. Toda Rabah. Again. Toda. Toda. Toda Rabah. Actually, this time instead of singing about parts of the bodies, let's sing about things on the earth and in the earth. How about thank you for the trees? Can everyone stretch? Make your body like a tree. Thank you for the birds. Can you flap your arms like you're a flying bird? What else, friends? Those of you who are with us can type in the chat box if you'd like, but I'll make up some things on my own. Thank you for the bees. Can you buzz around like a bee? Buzz, 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 buzz. And thank you for my toes. Toda, toda, toda Rabah. Nice and tall. Toda, toda, toda Rabah. Let's see. What else is in the world? Okay. Thank you for the sun. Can you shine on yourself like a beautiful sun? Thank you for the wind. Can you blow like the wind? Thank you for the puppies. And thank you for my toes. Toda, toda, toda Rabah. Toda, toda, toda Rabah. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you for being here, and thank you to our amazing Earth. Let's take a big deep breath together. Put your feet, plant them on the earth. Roll your shoulders back. We're going to take a deep breath in and out, filling up our bodies with air, the air that all of us share. Take another deep breath in and out. Rub your hands together like this. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Good. Try that again with me. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Repeat after me. Adama, Adama, Vishamayim, Vishamayim. Chom ha'esh, Chom ha'esh. Tzlil ha'mayim, Tzlil ha'mayim. Ani margit zod begufim. Veruchi benishmati. Let's do it again after me. Adama, Adama, Vishamayim, Vishamayim. Chom ha'esh, ha'esh. Tzlil ha'mayim. Ani margit zod begufi. Veruchi benishmati. Let's tap our knees again. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. In English, love the earth, love the sky. Heat a fire, drop of water. I can feel it. I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Whew, beautiful, my friends. Today, like I said, is Earth Day. It's a day in general where we want to focus our attention on the earth. As the song before us said, the earth, the sky, the fire, the water, the elements that make up all of our world, it's up to us to take care of them. Now, here's the thing. Why does the earth need a day? Well, why do you need a birthday? You're really cool all the time, right? You're pretty great. And I hope there are people that tell you that they love you all the time, not just on your birthday. But on your birthday, it's a special day where we focus all of our love energy on you and make sure that you know and realize how special and awesome you are. It's kind of like that for the earth. We want to take care of the earth all the time, but we need reminders that it's important to take care of the world. I don't know if you can see in the background, but there are some pretty tall trees here in my backyard. I see one over here. I see one over there. Let's see if I can move the camera so you can see how tall these trees are. Look at these trees, my friends. Look at them growing nice and tall. Now, these trees were here long before I was here. And these trees are going to be here long after I leave this place. It's amazing that we can help our trees grow nice and tall. And we're like trees too. We also start small and get really big. So together we're going to be like a big tall tree. So for this one, I need you to use your bodies. First, I want you to curl up on the ground like a little seed. I'm going to get as small as I can so you can still see me. First, I'm going to teach you the chorus, actually. It goes like this. And someday I'm gonna be, oh yes, I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Let's see if that was the right key. Close. Someday I'm gonna be, oh yes, I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. You're gonna start as a seed, so get nice and small. Get your body as small as it can go. I start as a seed, I start as a seed. Food and water is what I need. Lots of sunlight to help me grow. Lots of shade through the rain and snow. And someday I'm gonna be, oh yes, I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Someday I'm gonna be, oh yes, I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Now, little seed, how are you gonna get your water? You've got to grow some roots, so make your legs go out into the ground. Into the ground, into the ground. I can spread my roots around, growing deep down into the dirt, drinking all the water, slurp, slurp, slurp. And someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. All right, little seeds, you're growing more. You're not a seed anymore. I want you to make a little sprout and you're gonna grow it. Ready? Whoop. Make it look around towards the sun. Have it point to wherever the sun is shining the most in the space you are right now. I pop up my head, I pop up my head. I'm not a seed, I'm a sprout instead. Now that my growing has begun, I'll get more energy from the sun. And someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Okay, tree, you're getting lots of energy from the sun. You're getting lots of water from your roots, so you're growing. Start to stretch up nice and tall. I stretch up tall, I stretch up tall. My trunk is heavy so I won't fall. I spread my branches, spread your branches, and grow more leaves. Where are your leaves? So I can take in everything I need. And someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. Someday I'm gonna be, oh yes I'm gonna be, someday I'm gonna be a big tall tree. All right, tree. Now you are super tall. How tall can you be? Can you be up on your tiptoes with your hands in the air? You are now a very tall tree. Now my head's in the sky, my head's in the sky. I wave to the birds as they pass by. I might grow fruit, an apple or pear, give you shelter or give you air. And now just look at me, oh yeah, just look at me, I'm a big tall tree. Now just look at me, oh yeah, just look at me, I'm a big tall tree. Beautiful, amazing everyone. You are now a bunch of big, tall trees. I love trees so much. They give us air. They help make our air nice and clean. And there are lots of ways that we can help our trees. We can use less paper. We can keep them growing and not cut them down to use for other purposes. It's very important. And it's not just for our sake, but it's also for the animals. So I want to introduce you to an animal friend of mine. Put on my sunglasses. It's a little sunny here. Whoop. I'm going to introduce you to an animal friend of mine. Some of you know him and some of you don't.
Hey, hello, hi everyone. My name is Sheepy, and I'm here to wish you a happy Earth Day to you. The song is in the public domain now, so we can sing it without any problems. So sing along with me, okay? Happy Earth Day to you. Happy Earth Day to you. Happy Earth Day, dear Earth. Sure. Happy Earth Day to you. Oh, that was fun. That was very fun.
That was really beautiful, Sheepy. I'm so glad that you were here for Earth Day.
Yes, I'm here to celebrate Earth. Can you remind me what that is again? Like, where is Earth? Is it very far away?
No, Sheepy, you're on the Earth.
I am? I thought I was on the ground.
Well, the ground is the Earth. Remember that picture a while ago that I showed you of that blue and green marble looking thing?
Yeah, it looked like a very nice blue and green marble.
That's the Earth, Sheepy.
That's this? That's what we're standing on?
Yeah, we're standing on the Earth. And we live on the Earth, and we're a part of the Earth every day.
We're all a part of the Earth. Me too?
Yes, you too, Sheepy. You are also a part of the Earth. So when we say we want to save the Earth, we're not talking about something far away. We're talking about ourselves, our own lives, our own friends, our own neighbors, our own trees, and the birds in the sky.
And the sheep?
Yes, and also the sheep. We're also talking about the sheep.
Oh, that makes me so happy. That makes me very happy. Does that make you happy, my friends? I hope it does. I definitely want to take care of the earth.
What are some ways that you can take care of the earth, Sheepy?
Well, I can use less plastic, and I can reuse and reduce my use of things, and I can recycle when I need to. Oh, and when I'm 18, I can vote for representatives that will enact good policy on climate change.
Oh, Sheepy, that's very astute of you. You should definitely vote for people who will enact sound policy on climate change.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Sheepy, that was really edifying. Thank you so much for being with us. Can I get a hug before you go?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Sheepy.
Oh, can I give you a hug too? Mwah! That was a bit of a kiss too. One more hug, one more hug, one more hug. Okay, and we're back. Good, one more hug, one more hug. And one more hug, one more hug. Oh, you made me so happy I squeaked. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Sheepy, for coming to hang out with us today on our wonderful Earth Day. I hear, friends, that there are sounds in the distance because even though we are sheltered inside our homes, apparently yard work continues. So I hope that you can still hear me, my friends. I hope that you can still hear me because what I said about us being a part of the earth is super duper true. The light that's in the world is also in you. Here's a bonkers thing. Okay, so the sun gives energy to the plants, and you eat the plants for energy. So the energy of the sun is now inside of you. The water flows from the sky to the ground. You drink the water. Now the water from the sky is inside of you. And you get to use that energy, that creative potential to make the world a better place. I learned this song from my friends at Teva. I'm sounding the call today in my own special way. It's Hazon's campaign to get everybody talking about the earth and how we can do our part to save it this Earth Day. So this song is about the light inside of our heart. Show me where your heart is. Beautiful. Deep inside my heart, I've got this everlasting light. It's shining like the sun. It radiates on everyone. And the more that I give, the more I've got to give. It's the way that I live. It's what I'm living for. That's the whole song. I think it's so sweet. Reminds us of the love that we have to share with our earth and with each other. So put your hand on your heart, and when we say it's shining like the sun, shine it out, and it radiates on everyone. Make your hands go all sparkly like and radiate your love on everyone. Deep inside my heart, I've got this everlasting light. It's shining like the sun. It radiates on everyone. And the more that I live, give, the more I've got to give. It's the way that I live. It's what I'm living for. One more time. Deep inside my heart, I've got this everlasting light. It's shining like the sun. It radiates on everyone. And the more that I give, the more I've got to give. It's the way that I live. It's what I'm living for. Hopefully you can use your heart to do something today. Something I like using my heart to do is be in awe of the amazing world that is around us. You can look around and just say, wow. I do that a lot. I like just looking around and going, wow. Trees, they exist. They're super cool. Wow. Dolphins. I don't have any dolphins in my yard, but I think they are super cool. What do you think is super cool that exists in the world? This song by my friend Josh, to me, is all about how wow it is that there are so many amazing things in the world. It comes from the morning prayers from our Siddur. In the middle of that paragraph right after the Baruch Hu, and the words are Ma Rabu. There it is. The words are Ma Rabu, which means how many. Now, it's not like we're asking a question. How many things are there in the world? Like how many creations are in the world? But we're exclaiming it. How many creations there are in the world? Like Yoda, kind of. How many creations there are? That was my bad Yoda impression you got that I use whenever I teach this song. How many creations there are? It's not a great one, but I appreciate you chuckling lightly to yourself, as I am imagining that you are doing right now. So when I say Marabou, I want you to throw up your hands and go Marabou, just like that, real quick like that. Marabou, 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 Marabou. Oh, you sound so good. Marabou, Ma'asecha Adonai. Good. Marabou, 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 Ma'asecha Adonai. How many beautiful things there are in the world. And the cool thing is that each of them is created with their own wisdom. Every creature on the earth knows how to be themselves, right? The ant knows how to do ant stuff, and the bee knows how to do bee stuff, and the squirrel knows how to do squirrel stuff, and the tree knows how to be a tree. The tree knew how to be a tree even when it was a little seed. It's amazing. Everything was created in its own wisdom. So you're going to do this with me. Kulam bechokma asita, kulam bechokma asita, kulam bechokma asita marabu. We're gonna disco point at all the amazing creations in the world. That was one. There are just so many birds in my backyard, friends. Makes me super happy to hear them and to know that they're here. So you're gonna have to do those hand motions because I can't play guitar and do hand motions at the same time because I only have 8 hands. So here we go. Kulam bechokma asita, kulam bechokma asita, kulam bechokma asita marabu. Here we go. Don't forget to shout marabu. Marabu, 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 Ma'asecha Adonai. Marabu, 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 Ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam, Kulam bechokma asita, Kulam bechokma asita, Kulam bechokma asita marabu. Okay, this time instead of shouting marabu, you're gonna shout something that you're really glad exists that's in the world. Is it birds? Is it giraffes? Is it pancakes? Whatever it is that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this thing exists. It's super awesome. That is what you are going to shout when we say marabu. Here we go. Marabu. Trees, marabu. Windows, marabu. Asecha Adonai. Marabu. Zoom, marabu. Giraffes, marabu. Asecha Adonai. You could tell there I was a little focused on what was around me immediately at the time. Amazing, my friends. Well, that also brings us to a grateful note. We like ending every show, even our short shows, by thinking about what we're grateful for. By thinking about what we're grateful for. And today we could do like Earth Edition. What are you grateful for today? By my friend Eliana. And if you're watching on Facebook or on Zoom, you can put it in the chat. If not, you can just share it with the people you're around. And if you're by yourself, you can share it with yourself because it's good to think about what you're grateful for, even if you're by yourself. Here we go. What are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. What are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. Anybody thankful for something? I'll do the first verse. Here. I'm thankful for the food that grows, and I'm thankful for the people that get it out of the ground, and I'm thankful for the people that drive the trucks, and the people that stock the shelves, and the people that bring it to me. Oh, what are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. What are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. What else are we grateful for today? I'm grateful for the scientists and the doctors and the nurses. I'm grateful for the way that they help people, and I'm grateful for the way that they're using science to help us be better, and so we can all be healthy. What are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. What are you thankful for today? Share with me the blessings that have come your way. I'm really grateful that you joined me today, and I'm grateful that I got to be with you even for a shorter amount of time. So here's a couple of things we're playing with, my friends, a couple of announcements. First of all, I love that those of you who are here. But we've got a pretty small audience for this show, so we're going to try a couple of things to boost it up, because I love being with you all in person, seeing you, hoping to promote some of the families to panelists eventually so we can see the kids, because that's really helpful for me. I like being able to see the kiddos, with your permission, of course. We're going to try next week to go on at 4 Eastern, a little bit later. We heard that that was a better time for some folks. And we'll go on for about 45 minutes instead of the full hour. A little better to keep the kiddos' attentions. Share with a friend. Send them the registration link or tell them to go to jewishlive.org and check out Eliana Light and Friends. Next week, our and friend is going to be Dr. Emily Aronoff Tech, who is an incredible Jewish musician, educator, and doctor of Jewish education. She is the expert on all of this stuff, and she also has 3 adorbs little children who hopefully are going to be singing and dancing along with her. So I hope that you can join us next week again at 4. Register at the link. And also, for all of you grown-ups that happen to be out there, my new album, Songs About God, is out on Spotify today, which is really exciting, out in the world, kind of talking to the child inside of each of us, helping us think back to what God and concepts of God and spirituality. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. That was a fun visual. Whew. One of the reasons the show is shorter today is because I can't do more than half an hour outside because of the allergies. It's amazing. Anyway, going back and thinking, what were my ideas of God and spirituality from when I was a child, and how did they develop over time? So I hope you're able to check out Songs About God on Spotify. I hope you join us next week at 4, and also every Sunday, the Mishpacha Collective, that's me and a bunch of friends who are like family, we do something amazing on Sunday morning called Worldwide Synagogue Sing at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and whenever you want in the replay, message me if you like that link, and thank you so much for coming today, and I hope you have a wonderful and beautiful Earth Day. Shalom, everybody, shalom. Shalom, everybody, shalom. See you soon, Lehitraot. Shalom, everybody, shalom. Bye-bye. Shalom, everybody, shalom. I'll see you later. Shalom, everybody, shalom. Shalom, my friends. Happy Earth Day.